just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for Gotham. Yes, and this episode, I did like it a lot better than last week's. As you know, if you saw my review for last week, wasn't too crazy about it. I do want to apologize for those of you who might have been waiting for this review. Unfortunately, when I did watch the show the other night, I was really into it, but towards the end I fell asleep. I had a long day with the kids, and we had a lot of fun, and they just drained me, man. By the time night rolled around, I was so tired. So I actually slept and fell asleep during the last 10 minutes of the show. So I had to wait for the following day to watch the last 10 minutes. I did that earlier today, and now here's my review. I really did like the episode. There were still some issues for me in this episode. Probably the biggest thing for me that was an issue was Oswald Cobblepot just blatantly coming out and telling this guy that he used to work for Fish Mooney. Why the hell would you do that? Now, granted, it worked out for him in the end, and Gordon saved his ass. They all told the truth, and this is all good and well. But why would you even say that? Why don't you just try and play sly and tell the guy, say, look, I got connections. I'm with you. I want you to succeed. You know, just bullshit him. You don't got to go and tell him you used to work for Fish Mooney. It's the dumbest thing you could do. But be that as it may, it's how it went down. Now, the whole Venom thing, or Viper, whatever they called it, I kind of think of it as Venom. You know what I mean? Because to me, when I first saw the vial and the first thing I thought about was Bane. So from the comics. Now, the amazing thing about this episode and Venom is, on one side, when you see the Venom, as I said just a second ago, you think about Bane and all that, you think about the comics. On the flip side of this is we've seen a story like this a gazillion times. In fact, the first thing I thought about when I saw this show, or this episode, I should say, is it reminded me of an episode of The Fringe, and I can't quite remember which one it was, but it was something very similar. Maybe not on the grand scale like this guy, just handing it out to people randomly on the street. But I thought it was cool. I liked that when Edward Nygma explained what happened, because when I first saw the guy drink the milk, I'm like, what the fuck is this? You have all this power, you're going into a store and you're just drinking a gallon of milk? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then obviously when Edward Nygma pointed out what it did to the bones and the calcium, the lack of calcium, I should say, I thought that was great. I really did like that. I did. Didn't like didn't like the whole story with the whole drug on the streets for the week, you know what I mean? And again, another formula where we have villain of the week again. So, but again, the show still has a lot of strengths. To me, this episode, the biggest thing was finding out that Fish Mooney is in cahoots with, I believe the guy's name was Nikolai. Or maybe I'm just saying that because that's what most Russian names are for men. But either way, and this is the part of the show that I had missed the first time around, so I'm glad I got to see it, because we saw Fish Mooney working in cahoots with Nikolai. We see the lab is cleaned out, and we find out that Wayne Enterprises may very well be involved in a lot of corrupt shit. And now it makes you have to wonder just who's pulling the strings here, and why are they starting to show signs of corruption as well? And is this one of the reasons why the Waynes were killed? Because suddenly maybe they found out something about their own company they didn't like, and they were trying to, get rid of it, and somebody turned around and killed them to, for things to keep going. So that was interesting too. Now, Bruce Wayne, look, I want to see Bruce Wayne every episode. I do. Because you can't have a show like this without him, in my opinion. Even though Gordon is supposed to be the center point, and I got to be honest, to be fair, as much as I've liked the show for the most part, he really doesn't feel to me like the centerpiece of the show. In fact, sometimes it feels to me like in this show, they're trying to focus so much on so many different characters that it gets a little discombobulated. But this is another episode where I get confused with Bruce Wayne's character in this show, and it has nothing to do with the comics, has nothing to do with that. I'm trying to understand how a kid could even make a request to speak in front of the board about business that probably has nothing to do with him right now. Yes, it's his father's company, and soon it will be his company, but right now this kid should be in school. He should be doing counseling for trying to mourn for his. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting Bruce Wayne's character right now in the same light as any other child who would be going through this trauma. It doesn't mean that you're taking, in my opinion, it doesn't mean you're taking away the revenge factor. It doesn't mean you're taking away his motivation to eventually one day guard the city of Gotham and become the Dark Knight. But for me, it just feels like he's involved in a lot more than he should be. I don't think he should be. All right, we'll go with the investigating, okay? We'll say, all right, this kid's smarter than your average bear, and he wants to look at some files and try and get some answers as to what happened to his parents. But there was a scene in one of the first, and probably was in the pilot episode, where Gordon said, "I promise I will find who killed your parents." So why not use Gordon as leverage? Why not show Gordon what it is you're doing, what it is you're learning? And I know people are going to come out and say, well, that's Batman. He does things on his own. I understand that. We know that. He would have to do things on his own, because if he didn't do things on his own, then people would find out he's Bruce Wayne. But he's not Batman yet. He's a 12-year-old boy or a 13-year-old boy who has a detective that's willing to take this case on and spearhead it. And why not say, hey, Detective Gordon, I know this is none of my business. Well, not that it's none of my business, but I got these things I want you to look at. This might help you with your case. And that's fine. But to me, it's like now he's all up in these files. He's going to the balls or the events or whatever, and he's asking questions about the company. He's talking to this lady like he's fucking 30 years old. It's just, and I guess people are okay with that. To me, it's just weird. It's just weird. It's one thing knowing that you're going to be Batman, but you don't have to be Batman now. That's my point. And that's how I feel. That's how I envision. That's how I see it when I watch the show, is that this kid is trying to be Batman right now, the detective portion of him. And it's just, to me, just your average kid, even as bright as they are, and as a hard time as they're having figuring out the death of their parents and why, they just wouldn't be doing this. And don't tell me it's because he's got money and he's rich. That shit don't have nothing to do with it. So I don't know. That's just me. But overall, I thought the show was good. I liked the Venom. All right, that was cool. The antagonist was okay. I was more interested in what was going on with Wayne Enterprises. That was really what piqued my interest about the show. That and Fish Mooney in cahoots with Nikolai to work against Falcone. And then, of course, at the end, we see Falcone find Fish's little hot assassin girl, who, did anyone else think that wearing that beautiful skirt, it just looked weird that she's wearing a Walkman? Like the wires hanging out, this doesn't look right. I don't know. Then maybe it's just me. But so she obviously put her in a position to succeed. She was giving her some training throughout the show, and now at the end of the show, we see that Falcone, I'm still kind of debating where I want to go with that. You see that she's found Falcone, and she's starting to begin the approach, the putting herself in a position to make the final kill. And meanwhile, Mooney is all over this shit. He wants to take down Falcone so bad he can taste it. And Penguin just needs to shut the fuck up. Oswald, you need to shut the fuck up. You're in a perfect position right now. You might have screwed yourself, but we'll see what happens. So what did you think about this episode of Gotham? I enjoyed it. I like the Venom, the drug. I like what it did to its users. I like the Cobblepot stuff, only I think he spoke too soon. Fish, his little plans are starting to work out. And Wayne Enterprises, to me, probably the biggest interesting thing about this episode. Looks like they have their hands a little bit dirty. So we'll see how this all plays out. The show still has a lot of improving to do, but it's still very enjoyable to watch. And this was a great relief. I was kind of worried after last week's episode. I didn't like that one very much. So anyway, guys, this is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit ETN's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description. You're watching ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for Gotham. Yes, and this episode, I did like it a lot better than last week's. As you know, if you saw my review for last week, wasn't too crazy about it. I do want to apologize for those of you who might have been waiting for this review. Unfortunately, when I did watch the show the other night, I was really into it, but towards the end, I fell asleep. I had a long day with the kids, and we had a lot of fun, and they just drained me, man. By the time night rolled around, I was so tired. So I actually slept and fell asleep during the last 10 minutes of the show. So I had to wait for the following day to watch the last 10 minutes. I did that earlier today, and now here's my review. I really did like the episode. There were still some issues for me in this episode. Probably the biggest thing for me that was an issue was Oswald Cobblepot just blatantly coming out and telling this guy that he used to work for Fish Mooney. Why the hell would you do that? Now, granted, it worked out for him in the end, and Gordon saved his ass. They all told the truth, and this is all good and well. But why would you even say that? Why don't you just try and play sly and tell the guy, say, look, I